Dave Revsine, Gerry Dinardo, Howard Griffith in Minneapolis. Our show on the Gophers preview special will debut on August the 23rd on BTN. But for now, here on BTN.com, some quick thoughts on what we saw from Minnesota. What do you think? Team that made a bowl game last year for the first time in 3 years. Can they take another step forward this year?
I think the step is to be consistent, to continue to go to mid-level bowl games. I don't think they're ready for what used to be called, or will be called one more year, the BCS. But getting in that hunt, I think, is what they need to do. But typical of Jerry Kill. His team, Howard, every time we visit here, it seems to always get better, and this trip it got better again.
And where have we seen that improvement? On the offense and defensive line, you talk about the depth that they have now. They're starting to improve. I really like the second unit of the offensive line, some freshmen and sophomores that are going to be really productive in the coming years. But it all starts with Philip Nelson when you're talking about this offense, him going out and making outstanding decisions, an opportunity to come back this year after watching himself on film. And I go back to that. I think that's huge for young players to watch themselves on film so they can start to grow with this offense. And they'll be able to do a lot more things with them this year than they were last.
You know, you mentioned Philip Nelson. I mean, the model that Jerry Kill's using here at Minnesota is clearly different than what most people that are trying to build a program would use. They would use the spread formation. Their defense would be on the field for quite a bit of time. This is a different model. Ever since Marquise Gray left, and they did the right thing by trying to use his talent, now that Philip Nelson is taking over quarterback, this is going to be a pro-style attack. It's going to be ground control. It's going to be play action. It's going to be protect your defense and use the kick game to change field position.
Well, play action is going to work. I mean, first of all, you need to have a back who can run for some yards,
right.
And Donnell Kirkwood seems like, close to 1,000 yards last year. Of course, they used to perennially churn out 1,000-yard rushers under Glenn Mason. They haven't had one since his departure. But the other thing you need then is somebody who can stretch the field a little bit at receiver. Did you guys see anybody here who could do that?
I don't think you walk away with camp saying here's who the guys are. I think you walk away saying they have some potential in that receiver group. They have to find a way. You don't need a bunch of them because just by virtue of formation, but as the safety comes whistling down into the box to defend the run, you need somebody. So I would answer that by saying it looks like there's talent there, Howard. Nobody really separated themselves that much from me. I think the coaches would say a couple guys are separated because they've seen them all camp.
KJ May is a guy that I thought made some nice catches today. And you're right. You're talking about being able to take the top off of defense. I don't know if they have that guy. So it comes down for me being able to run precise routes, being able to understand that they have to read coverages to know where the ball is going to go. And it comes back to Philip Nelson feeling comfortable with the receivers that he has. It doesn't matter whether he doesn't have a guy that can stretch the field. He has to have guys that he has comfort in that know what they're going to be in particular coverages.
This defense was really poor a couple of years ago. It got dramatically better last year. I mean, they gave up a touchdown less per game than they did the year before. That is a fairly significant jump to make. They got themselves into the upper echelon in the Big Ten in terms of scoring defense, 45th in the nation in scoring D. Can they continue to progress in that way, Howard?
I think they will, because the biggest thing that they stopped doing was giving up those explosive plays of 20-plus yards. Every time we turn on the television and we'd watch this team on Saturdays or run highlights, we were watching guys getting beat deep or big runs happening. They didn't give up those type of plays last year, at least not a lot of them. And I think when you start to play fundamental defense, which they're doing now, guys being in the right place at the right time and understand what offenses are trying to do to them, you don't give up those big plays. So for me, that's where the greatest improvement has been.
And the personnel, the strength of the defense is the front and the back end. But interestingly enough, some of the young guys and some of the junior college and the new guys that they're most excited about happen to be linebackers. So you can see it coming together on all three levels, personnel-wise. And again, this staff has been together so long. And the defense also gets the benefit of an offense that helps the defense. I do think it'll get better.
All right, so that's the story with the Gophers. Again, you can see our entire preview of Minnesota's season, including interviews with players and coaches, and plenty more analysis coming up on BTN on August the 23rd. For now, though, we are on our way to Lincoln, Nebraska. We will see you there.